So, okay, we are discussing, this awful story. It's miserable. Captain Sir Tom is no longer with us. None of this should reflect badly on him, but has his legacy been ruined? A report by the Charity Commission has made some very damaging claims about how Captain Tom's daughter handled the foundation that was set up in his name. Let's remind ourselves, because of course this story takes us back to this one point of light during COVID, was all the chaos. Here's this fella, decides to walk around his garden, and then the money comes in. And the money came in initially in a good way. It came in for the NHS, and that was good. So sort of pound notes flying around, 39 million. But then there were other questions about money that came in, and they sort of obscured, they almost sort of blanked his face out. You couldn't see his achievement anymore. And he would sort of think back to it, and it's all smashed up, and it's a painful thing. So these pictures are going to be tainted somewhat by what has followed. So this beautiful GQ cover, his 100th birthday, and it's because of these two people. So this is his daughter, Hannah, standing next to her, and he seems to get away with a lot of it, is Colin. He doesn't get mentioned half as much as Hannah. And today, another report into what happened from the charity watchdog to say, hang on a minute, this is serious, because money kept coming in and it didn't go where people thought it was going to go. So these are headlines today. Very nasty reading. Betrayal of Tom's legacy. Daughter slammed. They pocketed money. Let's look at a few of the details before we talk about it. The daughter of fundraiser Tom Moore slammed for pocketing over £1 million in his name. Gained significant financial benefit from links to the charity. That's the key thing. Repeated failures of the charity. So yes, Tom did his job brilliantly, but his memory has been ruined in a way by some of this. This is a particular thing here. The advance of 1.4 million. This is for a 3-book deal. So this is the Mirror's coverage. I'll pull this out here, which summarizes it really well. So 1.4 million advance for a 3-book deal didn't go to NHS or charities. It went to the Ingram-Moore's firm. What? People didn't expect that. They then said, the charity needs a spa, built one in their home. It had to be demolished. And then Hannah, was charging £18,000 for personal appearances and demanding a salary of £150,000 a year. So they've thrown the book at her, quite literally. I should say that Hannah Ingram-Moore and her husband say the report from the charity watchdog is selective storytelling, and there's never been any misappropriation of funds or unauthorised payments from the charity's bank account. Right. Well, money that people thought was going in the direction of the NHS went to them. That's the key thing.
Yeah. Excuse me. I think a lot of this is very technical. First of all, I was very impressed by the role she took in promoting her father and the fantastic work he did to raise £39 million for the NHS.
True. And couldn't have happened without her.
Yeah, exactly. Every TV interview, she was sitting next to him. He was a bit hard of hearing, so she would interpret the questions and feed them to Captain Tom. There was clearly a huge bond between daughter and father, and he became a much-loved character. I think she should have got some reward for what she did. She steered Captain Tom through over a year of huge celebrity appearances, TV shows, Piers Morgan interviews, all that kind of stuff. And I don't think it would have been unfair for her to have been given £150,000 for doing that.
Well, all right. 39 million to the NHS, and then 1.5 million to the family, who kind of got the ball rolling. How about that for an argument?
I think it is fine. It would have been fine if she was the CEO of the charity and she was working and such, and she was working very hard. And I do agree with some of the things you raised, Mike. Like, for example, the 3 books that Captain Tom wrote, I doubt that it was him who was writing them at the age of 99.
Yeah.
So he did probably get a lot of help on that. But
just on that, Stella, they say that on his deathbed, he said to them verbally, the money from these books is for you. The trouble is that
There's no
in the
evidence of that.
forward, well, there's no evidence. And in the forward to the book, he does says, I hope these books go on and help the NHS. So
Yes.
if you bought a book, you thought you were helping the NHS. That's the problem.
That's the problem, and also the reason why I think this scandals has hit a nerve with so many of the British public is because you have Captain Moore on the one hand, who was representing what is best about Britain, what British people are the most proud of. So the greatest generation, the NHS, these are all national establishments. We're very proud of national, symbols of national pride. And then on the other hand, you have something that's very embarrassing for British people, which is someone being opportunistic and profiteering from people's goodwill.
I don't think she was, you see. And don't you think Captain Tom would have wanted his daughter to have been rewarded for the fantastic work she did? Because it would not have happened without her. There was 39 million quid. I don't think she was asking for a lot. And on the books, it was going to Captain Tom anyway. Why couldn't he pass it down to his daughter? I don't understand that.
Well, I think because people bought them thinking the money was going to the NHS. But you raise a good point, and actually, funny enough, one thing that hasn't happened in this story is there's been no police knock on anyone's door.
Exactly.
So we're not anywhere near criminal territory.
No, and she did one personal appearance, right, and got paid £18,000 for it. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, look, in our business, lots of people do personal appearances because they're well known and for the achievements that they've managed to sum up.
If you're charity, though.
Not if you're the CEO of a charity, and I agree with you, Mike. Give her a salary. If she's acting as the CEO of a charity, and she's working very hard for a big charity, she deserves to get a salary, and the trustees are the ones who need to decide what that salary is going to be. This is why charities have trustees. And every time funds are used from fundraising, they need to pass by trustees.
But she was given £85,000 anyway.
Exactly. So when the Charity Commission was asked, can you pay me £150,000 a year? They went over the figure. They said, no, that's ridiculous. They then came back with 85,000, which is basically half.
Which makes sense for a size of for a charity of that size.
I don't know,
85 sounds.
For raising 39 million, I don't think £150,000 was a bad request.
But most of that, it wasn't all going into the charity, from what I understand, because it was supposed to go, it was supposed to be distributed straight away into grants. It wasn't like the charity was actually going to be providing any services or something like that. So
but I hear what Mike is saying. All he's saying is she's being paid by results here.
Exactly.
So she's raised like 40 million. So give her a couple of million herself.
Okay, I'm fine with the salary, but still, it remains an issue that if you are the CEO of a charity, you don't get paid for public appearances. If you do receive a fee, then the fee has to be returned to the charity.
She didn't
Mike,
go there.
I think the one thing you're going to struggle
charity.
with here is justifying them building a spa in their garden and saying it was for the charity. And when the council said, sorry, explain how this is from the charity, they said, well, when it's finished, old people in the village will be able to use it.
Yeah.
Now, they weren't kidding anyone there. There was never going to be anyone from the village coming.
She's held her hands up to that and said that was a mistake. Now, that was a planning issue.
It's honest, though.
Well, was it? Or did she think that, well, look, I'm so well known now as Captain Tom Moore's daughter, the charity's still well known, it might have invaded every area of her life. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't think she was trying to be deliberately
Have we got
malicious.
any calls on this? 0207 862. Everyone's still calling about Ukraine. Maybe our whole patience with this story has completely run out. 0207 862. Maureen is in Kent. Hello, Maureen.
Hello there.
I'm so sorry we delayed getting you on. Do you think this is fair on Hannah?
Absolutely not. I agree totally with what Mike has said. And one very important factor, she gave her father the most wonderful last year of his life. Absolutely. He must have died a happy, contented, fulfilled man. And that's entirely due to what his daughter did for him.
Yes, that's a good point. And I think that was he'd been on Blankety Blank, Captain Tom Moore. So he'd obviously had this is like 30, this is the game show presented by Terry Wogan. And it was he was probably in his 40s then. So I think he's somebody who always maybe Maureen wanted a little bit of, exposure of some sort.
That's right.
And Maureen, what a lovely thought. So, and also, thankfully, he died before this scandal broke.
Yes.
But you don't think there is a scandal?
No, I don't think there's a scandal. I think that they were entitled to some money. After all, Captain Tom lived with his daughter and her husband in their house.
Yep.
He was entitled to some money, but she did wonderful things for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
certainly
Maureen,
his
I've
name
been
has
kind
not
of
been sullied.
understood, Maureen. Mike,
Maureen, can I just put this to you? And we're on the same side here. But I firmly believe that if the daughter hadn't been around, the Captain Tom phenomenon would never have happened. And there's another point here. He lifted all our spirits during a very low part of our lives. Every morning we were waking up to see Captain Tom's done something else and his daughter was there next to him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. She was there by his side the whole time.
Yeah.
Without
I
her,
don't know.
none of this would have happened.
You going to agree with this, Stella?
I'm going to say that, sometimes things are more complicated than they seem. So I do take Maureen's point. And, I can see how the tabloids and the headlines, they will always have to be black or white. And in this case, it doesn't seem to be that.
Well, I think it was Elizabeth Taylor who said large amounts of money are toxic and they destroy families. There's no question. And
absolutely.
the thing that I was amazed at was that the village where they live really turned against them.
Yeah.
Thinking like, who needs enemies when you've got neighbours like that?
No, it's true.
They just piled in.
Yeah, but they'd done some previous work on the house, haven't they? Which
Yeah.
hadn't
Well, that
kept local
caused
villagers
trouble.
happy
No.
and all that kind of stuff. So there was that element.
So maybe
to
it's
it.
jealousy. Maybe that we don't. We're a country that doesn't like other people having spas.
That is
Well,
Is that true? You've noticed it.
I think British people can generally British people like other people to keep their heads low.
Okay, so we've got spa envy.
But the Elizabeth Taylor quote is absolutely spot on. Wherever there's a huge amount of money, there will be trouble. It's the root of all evil.
sure. Yeah,
And people want to get their hands on it, whichever way they can,
Thank you, Maureen. Thanks for letting us think about that and for persisting with our dicey phones today.